Selamat pagi, perkenalkan nama saya Dr. Wahju Purnomo, SSMID dengan NIDM 072 4067201. Saya merupakan dosen tetap pada Program Studi Bahasa Inggris di Universitas Gajayana Malang. Video ini dibuat dalam rangka untuk memenuhi prasyarat Sertifikasi Dosen pada tahun 2026. Dedikasi keilmuan saya adalah International Studies yang meliputi American Studies, British Studies, dan Australian Studies. Namun pada kesempatan ini saya memfokuskan pada pengajaran Australian Studies. Selain itu, saya juga fokus mengajar pada English as a Second Language atau English as Foreign Language (EFL) dan English Linguistic untuk pembelajaran tingkat universitas. Filosofi pengajaran saya mengedepankan intelektualitas. Saya menghindari pendekatan yang sekedar teoritis dengan membawa realitas sosial dan budaya secara otentik ke dalam ruang kelas. Pada unsur pengajaran, mata kuliah Australian Studies yang saya rancang tidak hanya membedah fondasi sejarah dan sistem pendidikan di Australia, tetapi juga menyelami variasi linguistik dan norma budayanya secara komprehensif. Saya mengajak mahasiswa menganalisis fenomena sosial dan budaya yang spesifik seperti dinamika atau copy syndrome dan dinamika midness dalam percakapan sampai dengan penggunaan diminutif pada aspek kebahasaan pragmatik dalam Australian English. Pendekatan pedagogis yang saya terapkan secara aktif mengadopsi ketajaman retorika dan strategi penyampaian pendapat, sehingga mahasiswa terlatih untuk membangun argumentasi yang kritis dan solid saat merespon isu-isu budaya atau cross-cultural understanding. Perencanaan pembelajaran dan course outline serta course design yang saya buat untuk mata kuliah Australian Studies adalah sebagai berikut. Dalam merancang mata kuliah Australian Studies, saya menerapkan prinsip outcome-based education yang menyelaraskan capaian pembelajaran lulusan CPL, program studi dengan capaian pembelajaran mata kuliah CPMK. Mata kuliah ini tidak hanya berfokus pada transfer pengetahuan historis dan geografis, tetapi juga pada penguasaan cross-cultural understanding, analisis diskursus linguistik, serta kesadaran pragmatik antar budaya. Rencana pembelajaran semester atau RTS yang saya buat adalah sebagai berikut. Saya menyusun RTS berbasis pada case-based learning atau CBL dan outcome-based education, di mana mahasiswa membuat presentasi dengan topik yang telah disetujui dalam diskusi berpasangan atau kelompok kecil tergantung jumlah mahasiswa pada kelas tersebut. Integrasi topik, mutakhir, dan keberagaman juga salah satu fokus dalam materi perkuliahan saya. Jadi materi perkuliahan mencakup isu-isu kontemporer di Australia seperti Indigenous Australian History dan Reconciliation, di mana multiculturalism, normal cultural seperti konsep midness, egalitarianism, dan fenomena atau copy syndrome, sehingga variasi linguistik atau Australian English diminutif dan penanda pragmatik. Dan bahan ajar yang saya gunakan adalah bersumber pada textbook, di mana saya menggunakan textbook Culture and Customs of Australia serta sumber-sumber lain yang sangat berhubungan dengan topik pembahasan. Pelaksanaan pembelajaran atau instructional delivery and engagement. Proses pembelajaran dilaksanakan secara interaktif, kolaboratif, dan memanfaatkan teknologi atau blended learning untuk mendorong pemikiran kritis atau critical thinking serta kemampuan berargumentasi mahasiswa dalam bahasa Inggris. Metode pembelajaran interaktif yang saya terapkan adalah metode problem based learning melalui analisis studi kasus sosial budaya, di mana mahasiswa dilatih untuk menyusun argumen secara akademis terkait fenomena budaya dan fakta-fakta di Australia. pemanfaatan teknologi dan media otentik. Pembelajaran di kelas didukung oleh Learning Management System atau LMS kampus untuk mendistribusikan materi, tugas, serta materi pembelajaran. Penguatan kompetensi bahasa dan budaya. Setiap sesi dirancang untuk mengintegrasikan analisis bahasa atau linguistik, termasuk di sini adalah pragmatik dan sosiolinguistik, dengan realita budaya, sehingga mahasiswa mampu mengidentifikasi serta menghindari pragmatic failure saat berinteraksi dalam konteks kebudayaan Australia. Berikut adalah capaian pembelajaran atau program learning outcome yang saya susun. CPL pertama berkenaan dengan student attitudes. Student are able to demonstrate and respect for cultural diversity, societal views, and global perspective, while maintaining academic integrity and collaborative spirit. Di mana untuk attitude ini mahasiswa mampu untuk menghargai perbedaan budaya, sudut pandang sosial, dan sudut pandang atau perspektif global. Selain itu juga mengintegrasikan dengan aspek akademik dan kolaboratif spirit atau semangat untuk bekerja sama. CPL yang kedua pada aspek knowledge atau pengetahuan, masters the theoretical concept of sociolinguistic, pragmatic, and cross-cultural communication to analyze English varieties and cultural phenomena. Mana mahasiswa diharapkan mampu menguasai konsep-konsep teoritis di bidang sosiolinguistik, pragmatik, dan juga cross-cultural communication atau komunikasi antar budaya. CPL ketiga mengacu pada general skills atau kemampuan umum, so applies logical, critical, systematic, and innovative thinking in context of humanistic problem solving and cultural analysis, di mana mahasiswa mengaplikasikan logika mereka, kemampuan untuk berpikir kritis dan sistematis serta inovatif dalam konteks untuk menyelesaikan masalah-masalah kemanusiaan atau humanistik dan budaya. Sedangkan CPL yang keempat mengacu pada keterampilan khusus atau specific skills. Students are expected to be able to demonstrate the ability to communicate fluently and accurately in spoken and written English at advanced level, to construct academic arguments and mediate cross-cultural interaction. Pindah kepada course learning outcome atau CPMK. Saya menyusun CPMK sebagai berikut. Yang pertama, CPMK yang pertama adalah students mampu untuk menganalisa historical, geographical, demographic factor at the shapes of modern Australian identity, and particularly the concept of egalitarianism and multiculturalism. Jadi mahasiswa diharapkan mampu untuk menganalisa aspek sejarah dan geografis dan demografik yang membentuk identitas Australia modern, khususnya adalah pada konsep egalitarianism dan multiculturalism. CPMK yang ketiga, students are able to apply pragmatic frameworks such as full purpose work, impoliteness, and lexical truncation to interpret and reproduce authentic Australian discourse. Jadi mahasiswa mampu untuk mengaplikasikan atau menggunakan framework pragmatik seperti mock politeness. CPMK yang ketiga atau capaian mata kuliah yang ketiga adalah students are able to evaluate cross-cultural understanding in professional or social setting and propose solutions that respect local cultural norms. Jadi mahasiswa mampu untuk mengevaluasi kesalahan-kesalahan lintas budaya secara profesional dan secara sosial. Baik, berikutnya adalah penilaian dan evaluasi pembelajaran atau assessment. Penilaian dalam kelas ini dilakukan secara transparan, akuntabel, dan holistik, mencakup penilaian proses atau formative assessment serta penilaian hasil atau summative assessment. Instrumen dan rubrik penilaian. Saya membuat rubrik penilaian yang jelas, dan ini akan didiskusikan dan dipresentasikan pada pertemuan di awal dan juga ditampilkan di LMS sehingga mahasiswa bisa mengakses dan membaca secara individu. Asesmen otentik, mahasiswa nanti mengerjakan tugas-tugas berupa analytical questions yang sudah ada di LMS sehingga mereka bisa mengerjakan analisis dan mengupload ke dalam LMS. Baik, komponen penilaian dalam mata kuliah ini meliputi participation, jadi kehadiran aktif mahasiswa, yang ini akan mencakup 20% dari total penilaian, quiz dan assignment 30%, midterm test atau midterm test examination 20% dan final examination 30%. Jadi secara keseluruhan penilaian nanti adalah 100% mencakup partisipasi, quiz, midterm test, dan final test. Baik, yang terakhir adalah refleksi dan inovasi pembelajaran. Jadi saya berprinsip bahwa pengajaran yang efektif sangat membutuhkan adanya refleksi, baik refleksi pada sisi mahasiswa maupun refleksi pada sisi dosen. Dan saya mengharapkan selalu ada pembaharuan materi secara berkala mengikuti pada isu-isu perkembangan keilmuan dan pada respon mahasiswa. Berikut adalah kegiatan belajar mengajar yang saya lakukan di kelas dengan mahasiswa. Okay, well, good morning everyone. Morning. Okay, how are you today? Okay, alright. Today will be our last class, or our last session of Australian Studies. The topic of our discussion will be Australian architecture. We are going to discuss from starting traditional shelters up to the modern icons of Australia. Before we start, I would like to introduce what we are going to get. The first one, by the end of this session, which means you finish attending this class, the 15th session, you will be expected to be able to understand the concept and the theory related to the architecture in Australia. So our course will be Architecture of Australia, and if we still have time, we are going to do a review of all materials, right? And then the class activity will be teacher presentation, and then short discussion and question and answer. The final assignment is doing assignment which is on the LMS. You may access your LMS to get the assignment. We have 1 minute class activities, including presentation, assignment, and at-home activities. Right, we are going to start with the architecture in Australia. Early foundations that you need to have in understanding Australian architecture is these evolutions of Australian homes. Look at these three pictures then, starting from the left, the middle, and the right. How do you interpret these three pictures? Any one of you? Funny, right? Yes? So how do you interpret this picture? This is a movie from, what do you call this house? Very traditional house. And then we go mansion, and this one will be the last or the contemporary, a little bit more modern than the second one. If you look at the first picture, this is what we call as indigenous house of Australia. And if you look at the picture, then the characteristic of the building will be very different. Now let's have a look at the next. So this is the explanation. So prior 1788, indigenous Australian constructed a diverse range of structure which is adapted to specific local climates. Now, if we are talking about climate of Australia, so what do you think about the climate in Australia then? How is the climate? Hot. You? Gimana? Dry. And then, anyone else? Arid and harsh. Right, so the climate in Australia is very dry. you can imagine how it is different from the climate in our country. So you will be very grateful you live in tropical country like Indonesia. Okay, let's have a look at the next. So this house is what we call by gunya. So what is gunya? Gunya is a kind of traditional Australian house. It is a house for indigenous Aborigine people. So what is gunya? So gunya here is traditional temporary shelter. And it's a shelter, yes, place for, a place for living for those who are indigenous Aboriginal people. Then to avoid from very extreme weather, right? So that one. And then the characteristic of the house is they left no damage. So the house is what we call as gunya just now, left no damage to the environment. So it is friendly environment. It does not cause any damage to our environment. You can imagine, you can compare with today's houses that we have already seen in contemporary houses in our country. So this is the picture then of gunya or hampi house or traditional indigenous Aborigine house. So the shelter in here, and this shelter or these houses are made of branches, right? So branches, and some of them are made from the trees. And if you look at the picture, they are very heavy. So the heaviness cannot be valued from the house that we own. So you see here that even though this very simple house made from branches or grasses, but they feel very heavy. Right, let's move on then. So what is the philosophy then? The philosophy of indigenous culture of Australia. What is the philosophy behind that house just now? Anyone can answer that? The philosophy? It's just now it is made of grasses. It is made from some trees, and it is also some branches of the tree. Then what is the impact to the environment? So yes, Pandya, do you want to say something? Okay, right. So the thought philosophy that this house will integrate between the landscape and utilizing local material. So those two are the main core idea. So integration of landscape and local material. And the most important thing that is does not scare the earth. It is environmentally friendly. Right. So let's move on into the next period. We call that one in the periods of colonial into the Victorians. This has been called as boom style. So the house is boom style. What is called as boom style? It might refer to the form that it's like a boom then. So early European settlers initially built a decorative structure using scarce local material. So this is the key then. Scarce local material. What does it mean then? So they started using non-local material. They do not use, let's say, any material taken from this area. So some of the material are brought from yes, that's what? From other countries or from other places. So it makes out something which is very different with the previous one. The architectural phase was largely about conquering the environment. Conquering. So there is conquering. So conquering. You see the conquering? What is conquering? Ya, menguasai. Saya di bahasa Indonesia menguasai. That's different with the first one, the traditional indigenous people houses, which is very friendly to environment, but now it conquers the environment. Good. So the typical bit. the development starting from concrete builders into veranda and Georgian style. This what happened in the colonial era. So what is called by concrete builders is this one. So concrete builders refers to the thousands of prisoners. So I think that you still remember the term convicts. So convict refer to the prisoners, prisoners from British, and they will be fled from the prisoner in British, and they will be brought into Australia. Then in that place, they are forced to build a house or building. So then the characteristics of the building will be very different. So look at this picture of the building. So this one is very strong, and it's made from sandstone. So that is the convict accommodation. This picture is convict accommodation in Sydney. Right. So let's move on into Federation style, starting from 1890 to 1915. Okay, and then this is the component, the veranda. You see, veranda here is that one, roof, open air platforms or pods attached to the outside of building, and usually at the ground floor level. So this is the ground floor level, this is the roof. Alright, good. And then second one is, this is the picture of veranda, right? And then, what do you think in this picture then? What do you think in this picture? So what is the philosophy of that picture? So next one, what is the cultural context of this picture? What is the cultural context of this picture? So this is what we call the veranda just now. What is the cultural context? So you have to refer it to culture. The culture. Why is it necessary? Yeah? It is like a front porch, okay? And then how to relate that one with culture? With culture. So you say that it's like a porch, and then will be correct, that is the physical appearance of this veranda. But how do you relate this one with the culture? The culture of the people then. The culture. So it gives us shade from the sun, from sunrise. And so how do you relate that one with culture? Yeah? Funny? Transformations of people from one place to another place. And it gives, let's say, some benefits of that one. The veranda became a vital transitional space. So you can move from one place to another, and you will move from one place to another under that veranda, under that roof. Okay? Then this one will be a little bit similar to our country's rumah panggung. So we call that one as Queenslander house. Queenslander. So it is similar to Indonesian rumah panggung. I think that you can imagine rumah panggung. So everyone have already seen rumah panggung. Then what is rumah panggung? Rumah panggung. No foundation, right? So that's the picture then. The foundation of rumah panggung. So like what you can see in some part of our country. Alright. Now, we come to the last part. Now, before I end this discussion, so like so this is the example of modern terracotta house in Australia. Okay, any discussion, any questions that you are going to ask? We need to discuss concerning Australian architecture. Any questions? So you may compare some part of the architecture in Indonesia with some architecture in Australia. So there is a similar development from traditional architecture of our country into the modern era of architecture. It is similar to Australia. Any question? No? No. Okay, so you can do the exercise yourself, the exercise over here. So the first one, what was the Australian first major architect and what are some of his notable works? So you can find the answer from your textbook, right? So if there's any questions, so I end this topic, but there is still one more important topic, that is how to summary all the topics or all the discussion that you have already learned from the beginning to the end. So this is our last discussion about the summary of the topics. Of the picture of architecture in Australia, starting from the beginning up to this contemporary building in Australia. And then we have already been able to assess some questions or activity from the LMS. 4 questions are there. You may read the questions and you may answer all the questions by reading your textbook. And then before I end this class, this is what you need to remember about the culture and the custom of Australia. So our discussion actually to discuss the social psychology of the country of Australia. So the most important message or the most important phrase that you need to remember in our study is these 2 things. The first one is egalitarianism and the second one is ethics. And it will build Australian culture and also Australian art of work, starting from what you have already learned, that is food and fashion, and then the next painting, and then literature, and the last one is architecture. So all of them will build Australian identity. So what is Australian identity? The Australian identity is being egalitarian. Okay, right? So hopefully you will be able to get something from our class. We may learn that Australia has a particular characteristic which is very different from other countries. And one of the key is, yes, egalitarian. Yeah, it can be expressed through pragmatics or the linguistic use that is using mind in their conversation. And this relates to aspect, that is the conflict and the geography locations of Australia. Right? Before I end this class, any questions? No questions? But remember, you have assignment that you have to do. You can answer the question based on your textbook. So refer back to your textbook, culture and customs of Australia. Thank you very much. See you next time. See you. Baik, sekian adalah pengenalan diri saya dan juga video presentasi kelas aktivitas pada mata kuliah International Studies atau Australian Studies. Terima kasih.